Hey guys, so at the beginning of the year, 2014, I made a New Year's resolution to catch at least 3 remarkable fish. And so I've been fishing a lot this year, and I thought, while 3 remarkable fish is a pretty subjective goal, I think I've succeeded. So I thought I might share the year's best catches in this video. Just 3 probably won't make much of a video, so I thought I'd make the best 7 fish that I've caught this year. It might be something I do every year. We'll see how it goes. Alright, but let's get started. Okay, fish number 7 is this konoshiro. This fish basically caught himself. I was just doing normal float fishing at a port near my house. And, I cast out a little far, and, even before I flipped the bail, about 2 or 3 seconds after the float hit the water, it was already under the water, and I thought it must have caught on something, but it was a fish, and so, I reeled him in, and it was a fairly big fish. It was all luck, but I'll take it. 28 centimeters long, which is very big for the species, actually. I think the record in Japan, maybe the world, is 32 centimeters. So it's close. I'm sure it's not that rare, but yeah. But apparently this fish, the konoshiro, is a little more popular to eat when it's small, because when they get bigger they have a lot of small bones. But I thought I'd cook it, shioyaki, just put some salt on it and grill it that way. And, to make up for the bones, or to get around the bones, I just made these cuts along the body of the fish. And also added some sesame seed oil for flavor and texture. And, it cooked pretty well, and I thought it was really tasty. At least as tasty as it looks. Alright, fish number 6, this kasago. In English we'd call this a scorpion fish, but it doesn't have any kind of venom. It does have a lot of sharp, pointy bits, but it's easy enough to handle. And it's got a lot of really nice, fresh white meat, too. When I catch the small ones, I usually cook them karaage style, and you can eat the head, fins, everything when you do that. Kind of crunchy like potato chips, really tasty. But a bigger one like this was better for sashimi, I thought. So I went ahead and just cut it up and ate it raw, and it was good. This fish is actually pretty expensive if you buy it at the supermarket. So I was happy to have a cheap luxury meal. Alright, fish number 5 is this akae. This is the red stingray. I was out night fishing in Hiwasa with a few friends, and we were all doing sabiki fishing for aji, meaji, kind of horse mackerel and so on. But one of my friends, who's a pretty experienced fisherman himself, figured we had a pretty good chance of getting something big. That's all he told me, something big. So we hooked up a dead sardine that we had caught before, and tossed it in the water with a weighted rig. And then we just set the rod down and waited. We put the drag real low so it wouldn't be pulled away or anything. And then, a few minutes later we heard the buzz of the reel as something pretty heavy pulled on it. And we'd hear that buzz every few seconds, and we knew something was on. So I waited for a couple minutes to make sure that the thing had swallowed the bait, and then I set the hook and reeled. Every few seconds the reel just buzzed like mad. Something really heavy was on there, so I was really excited, but I didn't know what it was. But it wasn't moving that much. It was just pulling real slow, so I kept gradually reeling in, and eventually saw that it was a ray. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. They don't really fight that fast, but really big, and everyone was really excited to see it come out of the water. We actually didn't have a net that could pick it up, so we had to grab one from a boat nearby. And use that. So we put it on the platform and we took some pictures, and then even though you can eat this kind of stingray, we figured it'd be a lot easier for everybody if we just put it back. But it was a lot of fun. Everyone was pretty excited about it. Alright, fish number 4 is this kawahagi. For people who know me well, I love kawahagi. I love fishing them, I love eating them. They are masters at taking your bait. You won't even know they're there. They'll just kind of nibble at your bait until there's nothing left, and then you'll pull up, you'll have an empty hook, and you won't know what happened. But if you do hook one, they pull really in a really interesting way, and it's a lot of fun catching them. This fish is by no means a record breaker, but it's the largest one I've pulled up so far, and I have gotten quite a few, so that's saying something. And the best part was I was out fishing when a couple of boys, young boys and their dads were out fishing too, and so they were nearby when I pulled the fish up, and they were really excited to see something really big. And I had caught a few kawahagi that day, so I thought I'd give the smaller ones and one of the big ones that I caught to those two families to enjoy for dinner. And then I took two big ones home, and I made, of course, sashimi. And with the kawahagi, you can eat the liver raw too. So I prepared the liver, I cleaned it up, and I ate it with a bit of wasabi and soy sauce, and it's really, really good. It's the kind of fish that you can really only otherwise find at like a high-end sushi restaurant. So my family was pretty excited to have that rare chance to enjoy really, really tasty fish. Alright, fish number 3 is this tachiuo. We call it cutlass fish in English. Around here, you really kind of have to go night fishing in order to catch them. So I took a friend out. She wanted to learn how to fish, but she didn't have a lot of time in the day to go fishing. So I took her out at night once. And tachiuo is kind of hard for a beginner, but I thought she could handle it. So I rigged up her rods. Well, my rods. I lent her my rods, and we tried some fishing, and we used the floats with LEDs on them so we could see when they went under in the middle of the night. And yeah, she caught her first big fish not that long after, and she was really excited about that. Here's her picture. And yeah, and she even got a second fish by the end of the night too. So real good results for a beginner. And I caught 3, including this pretty big one at around 90 centimeters. We took them home, I cut them, cleaned them all. And most of the body segments I gave to her for her family, but I kept the big one to make sashimi to use for sushi, and also a couple of the body segments to cook up for my wife and me. Tachiuo are a lot of fun to catch, and they get a lot bigger, so hopefully I'll get something maybe over a meter next year. Fish number 2, auriika. This is of course a squid. It's the only one I've caught so far, but it's a fairly big one. I was using a squid jig. It's called an egi in Japanese, and it was night fishing with my Hiwasa friends. Probably my 3rd, 4th cast out, I felt something kind of grabbing onto the lure, and so I, pulled and hooked it, and yeah, you feel kind of a pulse as the squid kind of jets, squirts ink and so on out of its body, and then yeah, gradually you can reel it in, pull it up. And so I was real happy. I called my friends over, and we were all excited about the chance of getting more fish, because it came on so quick to mine, so they all imagined they would get some too. But it turned out that was the only squid we saw all night, so a bit of luck for me, or some bad luck for them. But we also did some tachiuo fishing, so no one went home empty-handed. It was pretty good. I got home at 4 or 5 in the morning, cleaned, cut it up, and made probably the best squid sashimi I've ever tasted, and some cooked dishes with the tentacles and the ears, the kind of tougher flaps of the main body. And we got some octopus from a family friend too, so it was a really nice meal. Alright, best fish of 2014, number 1, this kurodai. For the better part of this year, I would keep looking for kurodai and targeting them, and I just couldn't find them, or I couldn't catch them for whatever reason. I still don't know what I was doing wrong, but yeah, I didn't have a lot of luck at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the season even. But then I started catching a few small ones, and I got a bit of confidence from that. And then I went out to Tomo Port, which is in the very south of Tokushima Prefecture, and I hooked this guy. And they get a lot bigger than this, but this is a big fish. I was freaking out when I saw it come to the top of the water. The thing was, my net wasn't ready. We were only catching small fish until then, so we didn't put the net together. So I had my friend, another friend who wanted to learn how to fish, who was with me that day, put the net together, and she helped me. She scrambled to get it together as fast as she could, and so I kept the fish at the surface of the water until she finished that. And then yeah, when she did, I put it in, got it, pulled it up, and pumped my fist from excitement. I was really happy to catch that fish. My wife was napping nearby, so I woke her up and showed her the big fish, and she was pretty excited too. We took it home, and we cooked all the other fish, but this kurodai was of course perfect for sashimi. So I went the extra mile to cut the head off cleanly, and asked my mother-in-law for some advice for the presentation of kind of a good sashimi plate, and this is what we ended up with. Pretty good looking, isn't it? Tasted just as good as it looks, if not a little bit tastier. Fantastic meal. I was very happy with it, and it was definitely the best fish of 2014. And that is all for this year's fishing. I hope to make another video like this next year. Hopefully some bigger, more interesting fish. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Happy New Year and happy fishing.